All right, we're going to look at area of different shapes. So I'm kind of creating this sheet for you as like a formula sheet for different kinds of shapes. So I'm going to fill these out and then we'll do some practice problems with them. So I did do it on like a page that the backside should be blank so that you can use that to help do these practice problems here. Okay? So let's start with some of these shapes. So let's do a triangle. Do my best to draw some of these. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 of the base times the height. So in this picture I've drawn, this is the base. And the height of a triangle always makes a right angle. So there's the height. All right, we will do a rectangle / square. I think I can lump these two together. So the area is length times width. So with a square, all the sides are the same. So it's still length times width, but we could really say like length squared or width squared because it's the same value. But I think I'm going to lump them together to leave it just like that. All right, a parallelogram. So that's like a slanted rectangle. That area is base times height. So this could be the base, and then the height, so it's a dotted line, would be here. We've got a rhombus. That's like a slanted square. Try my best to do that. So we have things called diagonals. So I'll call that one diagonal 1 and the other one diagonal 2. So they just connect the two corners. So the area of a rhombus is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. Now we can do a trapezoid. Draw it a little different. All right, the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2. So in this little picture here, this could be base 1, this could be base 2, and then we would have a height. All right, I have a bunch more spaces than the shapes I was really thinking about. I was thinking circle as well. So circle, remember we have a center of the circle, and then we have a radius. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. Trying to think what other kinds of shapes we could have or that are worth knowing. We'll leave them blank, and if I decide that we need some more, we can always fill them in. So let's find the area of each of these shapes. So this rectangle, this first one here, that is a length times width. So area is length times width. So in this case, we got 6 meters times 5.1 meters. So 6 times 5.1 is 30.6. Because it has units, we'll go ahead and throw the units on. So remember, meters times meters is meters squared. Okay, the second one, we have a triangle. So the area is 1/2 base times height. So area is 1/2. The base is 9 yards, and the height is 6.4 yards. Drop my pen there. So then I do 9 times 6.4, and then divide that by 2. Because 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So the area is 28.8 yards squared. We have a parallelogram here on this third one. So we have a base of 8 and a height of 5.7. So I can do 8 times 5.7, and I get 45.6 meters squared. I have another rectangle here, so 3.1 times 2, because it's length times width. And I get 6.2. And it's in yards, so yards squared. We have a trapezoid here now. So the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 the height times the sum of the bases. So I get 1/2 the height, which is 5, and the sum of the bases, so 6 plus 3. So I'll do 6 plus 3 first, then multiply it by 5, and then divide by 2. So I get 22.5 miles squared. All right, this next one, we have a triangle. So area is base times height divided by 2. Base is 9, and the height is 6.6. So we'll do 9 times 6.6, and then divide it by 2. So I get 29.7 miles squared. All right, I have 3 rhombus here, and it tells me the diagonals. So UW is 11, and TV is 13. So the area is the sum of, nope, not the sum. Multiply the diagonals and then divide by 2. So 11 times 13 divided by 2. And that gives me 71.5 feet squared. So then DF is 18 and CE is 8. So the area is 18 times 8 and then divided by 2. So 18 times 8 divided by 2 is 72 yards squared. And then same thing here, we have the 2 diagonals. So the area is 17 times 14 divided by 2. 17 times 14 divided by 2 gives me 119 inches squared. I got some parallelograms here. So its area is base times height for all 3 of these. So area is 7 times 12, which is 84 centimeters squared. And the next one, we got the area is 3.5, so that's 3.5, and then times 6, which gives me 21 inches squared. And then this last one here, we got 3 times 15, which is 45 meters squared. Then we have some circles. So area of a circle is pi r squared. Or we can write it as 3.14 r squared. Since we're going to use pi, or 3.14 as pi anyway. So, all right, this first one here, I have 3.14 times 15 squared. So what that means is 3.14 times 15 times 15, because squaring means you multiply it twice. So 3.14 times 15 times 15 gives me 706.5 feet squared. I'm going to skip to the third one. So we've got area is 3.14 times 9 squared. So 3.14 times 9 times 9 gives me 254.34 yards squared. And coming back to the second one here, because I have a diameter here. So remember, if I divide the diameter in half, so 22 divided by 2 gives me 11, which is the radius. So I have area is 3.14 times 11 squared. So 3.14 times 11 times 11 gives me 379.94 inches squared. Now we might have some complex shapes here. We might have to do the area of two different shapes and then add them together. So here I see a rectangle and then a half of a circle. So the rectangle, I can do the length times the width, so 5 times 12, to give me 60 inches squared. And then I have half a circle. So I can do the area of a circle. So area is pi r squared. But I have half a circle, so I can divide it by 2. I know the diameter. It's the side of the rectangle. So the diameter is 5, which means the radius is 5 divided by 2, which is 2.5. So the area is 3.14 times 2.5 squared divided by 2. So 3.14 times 2.5 times 2.5, and then divide that number by 2, and I get 9.8125, and we'll just add that to the 60. So we get 69.8125 inches squared. So then I have the same idea with this shape here. I can do the area of the triangle plus the area of the semicircle, or the half circle. So the triangle is 1/2 base times height. So we have, let's see, the base is 6 times 4, and then divide that by 2. 6 times 4 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And then we'll do the circle. So pi r squared, but it's half a circle. So divided by 2. So 3.14 times the radius. So the diameter is 6. So if I divide that by 2, the radius is 3. So 3.14 times 3 squared divided by 2. See what that gives. 3.14 times 3 times 3 and divided by 2 gives me 14.13. And then I will add these two together for a grand total of 26.13 yards squared. Yep, that is all. So if you have any questions, let me know.